Alright boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving headfirst into the wild world of the NFL. We're talking X's and O's baby, but not the kind you draw up on a fancy whiteboard. We're talking about the kind of stuff that'll make you want to throw your beer at the ref, the plays that'll have you questioning everything you thought you knew about football. From icing the kicker to taking a knee, we're breaking down all the controversial clock management strategies that have fans and analysts alike locked in a never-ending debate. So, buckle up, grab your favorite beverage, and get ready for a wild ride through the underbelly of NFL strategy. Alright, let's kick things off, no pun intended, with a classic icing the kicker. Picture this. The game's on the line, seconds left on the clock, and the opposing team lines up for a game-winning field goal. The crowd's going wild, the pressure's on, and boom! Timeout called right before the snap. That, my friends, is icing the kicker. Now the idea here is to get in the kicker's head, to make him think about it just a little bit longer, let the pressure cook him. It's a psychological game, a battle of wits between the coaches. But is it fair? Is it even effective? Some folks argue it's just part of the game, a way to gain a competitive edge. Others, they'll tell you it's Bush League, a desperate attempt to influence the outcome. It's one of those things that just adds another layer of intrigue and drama to the game. Next up, let's talk about a strategy that's sure to ignite some passionate opinions: taking a knee. Now, for those unfamiliar with the finer points of football, taking a knee is basically a way for a team to end the game when they have a comfortable lead. Picture this. It's the closing minutes of the fourth quarter, one team's got an insurmountable lead, and instead of trying to score more points, they decide to kneel down on every play. Now, strategically it makes perfect sense. You're minimizing the risk of injuries, running out the clock, and securing the win. But some people see it as unsportsmanlike conduct, a sign of disrespect towards the opponent. They argue that a team should always strive to score, to play hard until the final whistle blows. It's a debate that's raged on for years, and honestly, I don't see it ending anytime soon. Alright folks, let's talk about a tactic that's as controversial as it is effective: intentional penalties. Now I know what you're thinking. Pat, why in the world would a team intentionally commit a penalty? Isn't the whole point to avoid those yellow flags? And normally you'd be right. But in the high-stakes chess match that is NFL football, sometimes a well-timed penalty can be a strategic masterstroke. Let's say, for example, the opposing team is driving down the field, threatening to score in the waning moments of a game. You need a stop, but your defense is on their heels, gassed and struggling to contain the opposition's offense. What do? Well, some coaches might opt for a strategic penalty. This could involve something like an offsides call on defense, a holding penalty, or even a pass interference in the end zone. The key here is to choose a penalty that benefits your team strategically. Maybe you need to stop the clock, prevent a big play, or give your defense a chance to regroup. Alright, let's talk about a coaching tactic that can make or break a game's strategic timeouts. Now on the surface, timeouts seem pretty straightforward, right? You call them to stop the clock, give your guys a breather, maybe draw up a play. But in the hands of a shrewd coach, timeouts can be so much more than just a way to catch your breath. They can be a weapon, a tool to manipulate the game clock, and a way to ice the opposing team's momentum. Imagine this. The opposing team is on fire, marching down the field, clicking on all cylinders. They've got the momentum, and your defense looks absolutely gassed. What do? Well, a well-placed timeout can disrupt their rhythm, give your guys a chance to catch their breath, and allow your defensive coordinator to make some adjustments. On the flip side, strategic timeouts can also be used to conserve your own team's timeouts for crucial moments later in the game. Alright, let's dive into a truly controversial tactic that'll have you debating the ethics of the game-faking injuries. Now, I'm not talking about those legitimate injuries where a player's hurting and needs medical attention. I'm talking about those suspect moments where a player seems to go down a little too easily, clutching a body part that may or may not be injured. Now, the motivation behind faking an injury is usually to manipulate the game clock or slow down a high-powered offense. Let's say the opposing team is running a no-huddle offense, snapping the ball quickly, and your defense is struggling to keep up. A well-timed injury can slow down the pace, give your guys a much-needed breather, and disrupt the rhythm of the opposing offense. But here's the thing. Faking an injury is a slippery slope. Alright, let's break down a strategy that's often misunderstood in the world of football: running out of bounds. Now, for those new to the nuances of the game, running out of bounds might seem counterintuitive. After all, the whole point of football is to gain yards and move the ball down the field, right? So why on earth would you intentionally run sideways or even backward to end a play? Well, my friends, there are actually some very strategic reasons why a player might choose to step out of bounds. One of the most common scenarios is when a team is trying to conserve time on the clock. Let's say you're trailing late in the game and you need to score quickly. Instead of fighting for extra yards and risking a tackle in bounds, the receiver might strategically run out of bounds to stop the clock. Another situation where running out of bounds can be a smart move is when a player is trapped behind the line of scrimmage and facing a sure loss of yards. Alright folks, get ready to rev your engines because we're about to talk about one of the most exciting and fast-paced offensive strategies in football, the hurry-up offense. This is where things get really interesting, a high-octane chess match between the offense and defense, where the clock becomes a weapon. Now, as the name suggests, the hurry-up offense is all about pushing the tempo, snapping the ball quickly, and keeping the defense on their heels. It's a relentless attack designed to wear down the opposition, create mismatches, and score points in bunches. One of the main advantages of the hurry-up offense is that it limits the defense's ability to substitute players and make adjustments. Alright, let's dive into a tactic that's often overlooked, but can be incredibly effective in the right hands manipulating the play clock. Now, you might be thinking, Pat, it's just a clock. How much manipulation can there really be? Oh, my friends, you would be surprised. You see, in the NFL, every second counts, and savvy teams have mastered the art of using the play clock to their advantage. One common tactic is to milk the clock, especially late in the game when you're trying to protect the lead. The idea here is to use up as much time as possible before each snap, forcing the opposing team to burn their timeouts or limiting their opportunities to score. Alright, let's talk about a move that's as iconic as it is strategic spiking the ball. Now, most folks associate a spike with pure, unadulterated celebration, a way for a quarterback to unleash a primal roar after a touchdown or a big play. And while that's certainly a part of it, there's also a practical, strategic element to this seemingly simple act. You see, in the heat of the moment, when adrenaline is pumping and emotions are running high, it's easy to lose track of the game clock. But in a sport where every second is precious, a quarterback needs to be able to think clearly and make split-second decisions. That's where the spike comes in. Alright folks, let's wrap things up with a strategy that's as much about psychology as it is about X's and O's forcing opponent mistakes. You see, in the high-pressure world of the NFL, the game clock isn't just a measure of time. It's a psychological weapon that can be used to rattle even the most seasoned veterans. One way to force mistakes is by applying relentless pressure, especially late in the game when the opposing team is facing a do-or-die situation. By blitzing frequently, disguising coverages, and creating confusion, you can force quarterbacks into making hurried decisions, leading to interceptions, sacks, or intentional grounding penalties. Another way to exploit the clock is by jumping out to an early lead. This puts immediate pressure on the opposing team to play catch-up, forcing them to take risks they might not otherwise take. Well folks, there you have it. We've explored the good, the bad, and the downright ugly when it comes to NFL clock management strategies. From icing the kicker to taking a knee, from intentional penalties to faking injuries, we've covered it all. We've seen how the clock can be a weapon, a tool for manipulation, and a source of endless debate among fans and analysts alike. But now it's your turn to weigh in. What do you think about these controversial strategies? Are they just part of the game or do they cross the line? Let me know in the comments below.